Good afternoon, great afternoon, great afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is We Are Five Fifths. Put this little thing out right quick. I want to discuss a little something a little different. Starting to notice, and I'm noticing that it's only always the 3/5 community that does this. It's always the minority. We associate, excuse me, we associate success with a person's assets. You know what I mean? So how do you define a successful life? How? Because you got a big ass house and you got a million cars and you got $1 billion in the bank? What if at the cost of all that you fucking miserable every day of your motherfucking life? Are you happy? You know what I mean? Like, are you happy? You ever ask yourself, what is it that these privileged older white men that are homeless now, that went to the war and came back and they're just like disassociated from society to the point that they don't want nothing to do with the government? Is there something that they learned out there and it like traumatized them? Because their whole entire life they was coddled. So when that hardcore raw shit come, they can't handle it mentally? I don't know. But I just noticed that we as a people, we associate how successful one is by his assets. I don't understand that, because if that was the case, the majority of everyone who has more than one house and more than one car that I know of, you're more successful than Malcolm X. Even though he had a lot of, he could have put his hands into a lot of places, correct. But as personal assets that I know of, that man wasn't rich. I just watched a video that was posted on another channel of when the government actually called Malcolm. Actually, one of the times they brought him in, I'm guessing it's one of the few times in the beginning, one of the first times, what I mean. And funny shit, yo, they try to talk circles around this motherfucker, and they were not intelligent enough to create the circle. He kept gunning them down. They tried to get my guy to sell out his own people. Couldn't do it. He said it back then. Why would anyone sell their soul for $1 that is dropping, forever dropping? The guy, the agent himself said, you are correct. Who would do some shit like that? Like, that's some dumb shit. Then he goes, but we ain't talking about that, when in actuality they are. The minute you are getting profitable gains at someone else's expense, that's literally what that is. They will tell you, yo, I understand that there's a ghetto over there, and I understand that you're tired of it, right? But how am I gonna get you to shut the fuck up about it? What if I take you out of that shit? I put you, you know what I mean? But the one catch-22 is that you cannot talk about this type of shit. You cannot bring that to the light. That we have a fucking problem. And they couldn't get that man to fold, man. They just couldn't. They even told that man that they make people disappear. The fucking government, bro. Same people that enslaved us. The same people that made the laws look at us and treat us in an unjust fashion. Same people. It's the same people that won't tell us clearly about where we came from, but you will have whole entire classes and universities and courses dedicated to studying other races from another country that don't affect us here. True shit. I don't. Then they'll, because I'm gonna attack a few different subjects to show you the way they manipulate us to fuck with ourselves. Then they'll implement a system right? That your system is created for us only. You know what I mean? Your working man, your slave man, your colored man, your non-rich man, because there's no middle class. It's upper or lower, and the uppers only want us to be lower, so they're using us as a step so they can push themselves higher. There's no middle. There's no such thing. Because middle means that we have a way to climb up and get up there. They're trying to avoid the middle class. It's not an airplane type shit. So it's like, they will teach you a system. You got to do like Mace, right? Mace came out and was talking about how Diddy robbed him for his publishing, right? But if 50 ain't come out and open his mouth and tell you that, like, who the fuck is you to talk? You out here raping somebody else for their publishing. So they create a system that only endures in the colored system, because I've never heard of a country singer, rock and roll artist, that type of motherfucker saying this type of shit about they. I've never heard them dudes ever complain about publishing. I've never heard them dudes ever complain about getting Jay jerked on their deals. I've never heard of them dudes that deals coming down the pipe differently. Like 1 minute it's one type of deal, then you get another type of deal, then it's a 360 deal. It don't matter how you make money, they figure out a way how to dip into your shit. I never hear other genres talking about that. You know what I mean? I never hear, how do you say? I've never heard of another race even speak about the type of shit that the black man has endured, that they've experienced. It's almost like it's bigger than a conspiracy, it's an actuality, because it's in every race. You'll find a dark-skinned Puerto Rican, you'll find a dark-skinned Dominican, you'll find a dark-skinned black person, you'll find a dark-skinned any race, right? Now you get that same race and you get a lighter-skinned version of that same race, he'll probably look across and be like, oh, fuck that dark ass, for no reason. It'll be a complete stranger. So already they teaching you to hate yourself because that dark-skinned person is you. And you are him, I mean, you're the same person. To them at least. You remember that sign and what was that, Mo Money? Right? Marlon Wade said, man, I don't remember what white person it is, man. They all look alike and smell like bologna. Because that's how they view us. We all look alike. They don't care. I mean, they just bunch us all up like a bunch of fruit that's going into a pie that's about to go into an oven. They just throw us in there. They don't care. Because they're not affected from the situations that's going on in the hoods. Because they don't live in the hood. Then our dumbasses, when we protest, what do? We fuck up the shit in the hood. They like, what we need to fix that for? For what? These niggas find a way to build their own shit and fuck up their own shit. How they gonna ever come up if they fucking up their own shit? And then they always help us. You heard what Malcolm X said in that interview, if you listen to it or not. If you haven't, go listen to it. Go look it up. He talks about, why don't you go find the people that bombed that church in Alabama? I was just talking about that the other day. It's crazy how it's a full circle, because I heard that video today. I didn't hear that yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, did anybody ever get arrested for that bombing? We're still 2020. Did anybody ever get arrested for that? I'm gonna show you another little game. There's this dude, his name is Daylight. He has this page. He showed this video yesterday of the shit that happened with the rapper Triple X. That I ain't even gonna try to say the rest of his name. But the young bull from Florida, they showed the video, right? Did you know there was somebody else in that car? Did you ever see that the passenger? So in the video, you see that there's two people. There's a little shorter person that look like a chick, and a taller person. Both look like white people and thin, right? The shorter person is like, damn, they're in the car. At one moment, the taller person that's not all the way in the car, he takes the banger out of the car, pulls it up above it, and points it like if there's somebody at the passenger side, pulls it right back, and then points it right back at X. That's your moment right there. When he's pulling the car, when he's pulling the banger out of the car, pulling it on the top, there's somebody jumping out of the passenger seat. The person that jumped out of the car didn't even look back. He did like the way the Bible told Lot and them. When you leave Sodom and Gomorrah, do not look back. If your eyes look back on the town, you will turn to sand. Remember, his wife looked and she turned to sand on the spot. He kept it pushing. That's how Brody left the car. He opened the door, took off. He ain't stopped. So the minute he opened the door and started to take off, that's when Homo was taking out the banger. I'm guessing he was thinking that this nigga gonna look at me. If he look at me, I'm gonna clap him. If not, I'm gonna get him to freeze whatever happens from there moment. Money never broke stride. He just took right off. Then he stops the video and clicks it to some newscast in Florida, right? So this is now, he's showing you what the news actually broadcasted the video of the rapper Triple X, right? So they're showing the broadcasting of how allegedly the truck blocked him, but we'll get back into that. The truck blocked him, right? But the way it is, all right, you see how my camera angle is? You see where my shoulder is right here? They had a dude sitting right here. So you see how my hand is blocking? The guy's body is blocking part of the camera view, part of the screen. So you only see the car. You don't see the passenger door because he's there. So you only see the two people, X, whatever. Then you never see the guy open the door, jump out. You never even heard of him. You know what I mean? You don't see that on the actual news that they broadcasted in his state, in his town. They don't show that because the guy's sitting there like blocking like this. There's some other shit going on right here that you don't see the money jump out the car and run. You don't see that, right? Now, Brody stopped the video and zoomed in on the bangers. It looked like one of them dudes had a tech. It looked like he was holding if you ever had a Tech 9 in your hand, the clip, it's like instinctually you want to hold it for grip. You know what I mean? But it's not a grip. That's just the clip. But instinctually you want to hold it like that. And if you got a military grade, you get wild shit happening outside. And if you have a military grade Tech 9, you can replace the nozzle and make it air hose. That's like the one I have. It's like a removable nozzle at the end. It's like some of this long, some of this, the Army issue, so they come in different lengths. And it's like a cylinder with a bunch of holes. So when you twist it on and you firing that thing, because I told you instinctually you want to grab it with the clip right here and the trigger. And when you firing that thing, it's like fires coming out of everywhere. It's the type of, it's like it's an automatic weapon, right? And the other nigga looked like he had a 40 on him. So anybody who's ever shot someone or seen somebody shot in real life, you know there's movement. You see the flash, especially in a car, weapons of that, you're gonna see the flash. Money is in a white car. Money's in a white Beamer. I believe it's like an M9. The car goes like 200 miles an hour. It's easy. All you got to do is that to the gas pedal. Just tap it, boom, and you're doing 60. Just that's it. You out. So when you see these cats coming, he at the stop sign. The intersection is about, I'm not gonna lie, it's about 75 to 80%. He's like, this is the vehicle, but he has a bunch of space in between the two. So he's like about like this far. So they're like far. But he doesn't have the entire intersection blocked off. It's only one vehicle. And it's not even directly in the middle like this, where if he would have hit it, he would have T-boned it. It was more like this. This is the front of the SUV. This is the front of his car. If you know anything about that Beamer, the motor is where your trunk is. So he could have hit that. He could have hit that shit and kept it pushing. You know what I mean? Because it wouldn't have damaged the motor because the motor's in the back. You would have had some fucked up steering, but nevertheless, that old Escalade ain't catching that Beamer. It's not happening. So anybody would have just tapped the gas and all they're going to do is clap at you. You know what I mean? But again, that motor's behind you. So you get low and them bullets ain't penetrating that motor. And you just keep it pushing. But nah, that's not what happened. They say he got shot, but when you see the video, you don't see nothing. It's a white car. When they be blood, when they be something, you don't see none of that. It's a lot of shit going on out here. You can't even tell what's real or fake. I used to have this conversation sometimes still with my girl. It's almost like everything you see on the screen, you believe. There's this meme. It shows a picture. It looks like it's a black dude stabbing a cop. That's what it looks like. The picture's like zoomed in like this. It only shows a little portion of it. And it looks like it's a black person stabbing a cop. And there goes, this is media. Then they back the camera out and they show the entire photo. And the entire photo is a black person getting chased by a cop. They're just showing you the back half of the running stance and his foot is up. They're only showing you half of him and then half of the cop. Physically, half of the body. So the way the arm is set back and his foot is set back with the head, because I think he had a hat backwards, it looked like he was like this, stabbing. In actuality, he was running away and the cop was chasing him. Media, they play crazy games. They will make you believe some shit that ain't even happening. Like, what happened to all these? Dude made a great point. Dude said, again, which is something I made a video up on the cameras being everywhere. Never thought about it this way. He said it's been 20-something years. Why we still don't got video of Tupac's death? They said, he said, do you have any ideas how many cameras were on that strip in 1996? That strip was the most popping strip in Las Vegas. That's where everything is. You telling me there isn't cameras there? Come on, man. 96, there was cameras on my street corners. Not everyone, but there was. But my street corners aren't like Vegas street corners. There aren't casinos and fucking big hotels and all that shit on every corner. So you know they got camera lights. Didn't they have, you get the ticket if you run the red light through the camera on the light? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the game. Why you bringing in a black leader like Martin or like, imagine that Malcolm X. Imagine maybe they did bring Martin in there. Who knows? What is the point of that other than destruction? I see that to say, why is our stance always peaceful with someone that only wants destruction? You mean, ever ask yourself that? They find different outlets. Any which way we find to come up, they find a way for us. They figure out a way how to get into that and then make us turn on ourselves on it. Prime example. You had a dude like Hassan Campbell. Prime example. Some say he was in a relationship with dudes. I don't know. I can't picture myself going through no. I don't know. He's saying under 18. I've been getting locked up since I was like 13, 14. So that shit wasn't a pop with me. The minute I'm walking in, Vaseline on hands, my nigga, what the fuck going on in here? You ain't shaking my hand. Fuck, my nigga, I'm not with it. I don't give up. Listen, man, I was taught real early. If a bunch of motherfuckers jumping off a bridge, you jumping with them? You don't got to not know. My nigga, 1 + 1 is 2 in any language. You know what I mean? 1 + 1 does not equal 5. I don't give a shit where you at. Get it? So the minute you walk in that door, I don't care what going in your house. You said that it was a lot of wild shit going on in his house he didn't want to deal with. So I'm guessing because his father wasn't home, he didn't want to accept the discipline coming from his mom because he felt like since he was a male that he could physically dominate her. So why respect something I could physically dominate? That's only a state of thinking that's in the 3/5. You know that, right? But anyways, the 3/5 is you're not elite people. In the law, we're viewed as 3/5. But anyway, he didn't want to deal with the discipline, right? My nigga, I used to get my ass whooped every fucking day. True shit. My parents were together up until I was like 15, but even before that, I was in them. You know what I mean? We was poor, man. I had to feed. I had to eat, and we were poor and I was fat. Shit was real. I was out there, hella young. My father wasn't in the street shit. My father was totally against that shit. My father was pro-police. True shit. The cop could be like, yo, we pulled him over because he was Puerto Rican. My father would be like, well, shouldn't have been driving while Puerto Rican. Some weird shit, yo. Like, it didn't matter what the cop said. My father was like, they right. And I'm like, nigga, is you crazy? These cops, the laws are made for them to fuck with us. Like, we in the ghetto. Like, you don't see this shit? Like, nothing closed at that time, and where I'm from, nothing closed. And my town over here, where I was, the city I'm from, in CT, nothing closed back then. It was always 1 million people outside. It didn't matter. The cops would come take 1 million people. As soon as the cops went away, it's like a whole nother 1 million people came and took their spot 5 seconds later. It's like they were waiting in line type shit. The cycle. Some weird shit. It's a cycle that Nas was talking about when he was looking out the window. That cycle is crazy. So they'll make it seem like there's no way out, like we don't have a way to win. So when we see one of our own winning, we try to bust them. So back to what I was saying. This dude was talking about how he going to deal with this major rapper at his house where they have some wild sexual shit happening with boys. So when they be like, some say he was forced, some say he was in a relationship. I don't know. This is what I got. This is my point of view on that shit. Is it a choice when you don't know any better? You know what I mean? Is it a choice when you feel like you don't have no other option? Is that a choice? And at that same token, or is it still your fault because you're not taking responsibility for being negligent to the other choices you had out there, for putting yourself in a box? Because easily, like you said, oh, I don't want to go there. You could have just as easily said, fuck it, not there either. Let me go this way. Those are both dead ends. This is the way out. I mean, I came to an intersection. I mean, I'm coming out of my dead end. These two ways are cul-de-sacs. All right, this is the way out. Yup, my bad. Shit. I'm fucked up. My bad. I want to go this way. I'm trying to get away from that, ran into some other wild shit. But you left that, the first day you left that, doubled back again. You willfully walked there. Where was the force? And you willfully repeated. Where was the force? And then in turn, and even with that shit, because I don't praise that shit. I ain't never experienced that shit. I don't condone that shit. But even then, I was like, all right, let's. But then as the story comes on and time goes on, as you get older, now you talking to these niggas and treating people in a physical manner how you was treated. You telling motherfuckers on your live, your fans, that you raped they fucking kids. The fuck? My nigga, are you Mace? Because you complaining, just like Mace complained about Diddy robbing him, right? For all his publishing. Meanwhile, Mace is robbing the little nigga Fabio Foreign for all his publishing. Fuck going on there? What is it? Because it was done to you. You know it's not right, but you like, fuck it, I'm going to do it to somebody else and then complain about the motherfucker that did it to me, but not bring up that I'm doing it to this motherfucker? What? That shit sound retarded. I didn't even think I could say that on the first time because I thought about it. I never verbalized it, and I did good on that. But anyways, I don't understand where this train of thought come when you know something that's done to you is wrong, but yet you still repeat that and reflect it on the other motherfuckers. It took me a long time to understand, because when I was growing up, niggas ain't tell me what felonies were. I ain't find out till I was 16, and they were able to stay on your record now, and I caught like 6 of them bitches at once. That's what I found out what a felony was. And still today at 40, I'm still dealing with this shit that I did at 16. These motherfuckers don't want to give me a job. I don't give a fuck how much experience I had. They don't care. Once my record come back and they be like, damn, this nigga's 40 and he spent more time in prison than he did in society? We don't want this motherfucker here. We don't give a fuck how hard he works. It's not the type of person we want here. Because this nigga will revert to those type characteristics. And what are these type characteristics? That I grew up in a community that had no fucking money. That I grew up in a community where, in a time where the police would run down on you, take your drugs, take your money, and just fuck your whole re-up up, but yet not take you to jail. That's what used to happen when I was a little nigga growing up. True shit. I watched hella cops, put up 15 niggas on the corner. They like literally robbing these motherfuckers. But they cops, uniform, cars, daylight. Get the fuck down. Empty out their pockets. These niggas got hella. Back then, weed was looked at like it was fucking crack. Think about that. You know what I mean? Remember, they had the DARE program and all that shit. The gateway drug, marijuana, was looked upon like it used to be a grade A, a coded one, whatever the fuck, hallucinogen. Nigga, the way crack and heroin and fucking crystal meth is viewed. It was the same tier. You know what I mean? Out here, I think it's 52-A. That means that's a hallucinogen and you not a drug addict, nigga. You selling that shit for pure profit and they not getting they cut because you not paying taxes. That's what makes it illegal, that they not getting they cut. In other words, how many of y'all have legally, check out the game, how many of y'all have legally bought a weapon at a store? Regardless if you were able to get it, supposed to get it or not. You still pay taxes on that bitch, right? It don't have to be a gun. It could be something like brass knuckles. Or something like a knife. That they, they say if the knife goes over your finger, it's illegal, right? So now let's say you buy this knife that's like this fucking long, like a fucking dagger. You pay taxes on it because it's in a fucking store. You have a receipt for it and everything, right? But this fucking cop will arrest you for being in possession for some shit that you bought from a store illegally. What? Why am I getting a ticket because my music is too loud? Why am I even able to buy some shit that's making my music loud enough to destroy the noise ordinance? Why is that option even there for me? Like, what? Do you not see this shit? They make it so our voices aren't heard, right? So when we find a song that we like, we want everybody in the world to hear that song because that's how we feel. But then others feel like you, but then the oppressor come and basically telling you to shut your mouth up because your music is too loud. When you're in essence, these white people have therapists. That is our therapy. Some people make the music, that's their therapy. Some people listen to the music, that's their therapy. Because the last thing you want is another Uncle Tom that's gonna ride out and not tell you where his team is when their therapy is to actually go retaliate to the oppressor. You know what I mean? What happens when you're dealing with that animal? And when you got that animal in front of you and you capture him and that animal ain't divulging nothing with the people, the plans, and everything they got set up to do. That's who Uncle Tom was. Why they made us believe that Uncle Tom is some sellout ass nigga when he's literally the exact 180 of that. And I hear that they made a movie about the fucking dude, right? And they talking about how they made it all about family and all about this shit. And I ain't hear nobody talking about the reason the motherfucker died. Like, what? I told you, that is a fictional story. That is a fictional character in a fictional book. And the book is on a non-fictional shit. So it's a fake book based on some shit that really happened. Because, you know what I mean? So basically the slave owner, I think, is the nigga that wrote the fucking book. If you want to be 100, but like I said, I don't know it all. But the motherfuckers playing the scheme said, nigga, we getting the fuck up out of here. And for all you know, sometimes somebody got to be the gopher. In other words, somebody got to stay back and get caught for everybody else to get away. Sometimes if shit is that bad, sometimes that's the only method you can get away. And you have to take a loss for the greater good. For all we know, that was the case. And my guy was so fucking strong that he would never tell them where the slaves escaped to. And they fucking hung him. They torturized this nigga to the point that they tarnished his name and his legacy because they don't want no more Uncle Toms. Imagine that. Imagine that for the last 100, however much long, we've been thinking that this dude is a sellout when he's not. That's the album of what Lauryn Hill was talking about, the miseducation, B. History is his story. Who is he? He is who won the war. He's going to tell you what the past was. So if they won the war over 1,000 years ago, the kids that were born 200 years after that, when they grown adults, they only know about the lie that's been in place, and they're going to fight that lie. The way you used to argue about Christopher Columbus, how he was the greatest conqueror and world fucking crusader, whatever that dude was categorized under. He was the greatest at it, they said. He started colonizing. He was doing all this shit. Are you sure? Because in 2020, he looked like a big-ass fucking dirtbag that was doing some fucked up shit in a bunch of different colonies. But for the last however many years we've been praising this dude, so that means if somebody didn't say something about that shit a couple weeks ago, we'd still be praising him next month. Because they wasn't going to say it. They wasn't going to... I've been talking this... I stayed back once in school, one time. This is why I'm so strongly about this George Washington shit, why I never forgot it. Because I would never answer that. I never did. I remember the elementary school, they kept me back one grade because of that one test. Because I literally said, how can he discover something if on this page you said there were Indians? Discovery means there's nobody there, correct? And the teacher's like, correct. But yet in this page you're telling me that there was natives there. So how did they do? And they were just, no, you have to answer it. And I wouldn't. And I stayed the fuck back. And I went home and my father literally beat the shit out of me for like 3 weeks. Come to realize, look, I was fucking right. That's how they fuck with us. Gotta stay up. Fuck woke. I mean, because even if you woke, eventually you get tired and you're gonna have to go to sleep. So woke ain't the proper word there, buddy. Stay consistent. True shit. You gotta be consistent. You have to be. And I noticed that these motherfuckers will do like a background check on your ass. This is what I'm noticing. People are going back like a year back on people. Like, yo, look at the type of shit he's into and look at what he talk about now. So I'm going to tell you right now, when you look back on my shit, it's going to look like I'm some retarded person that don't follow orders, that just don't give a fuck. That person is there too. You know what I mean? But that's not what we putting out there. That's not what the world needs a lot more positive. Stop always, as long as you ain't dealing with some type of bullying tactics, like the way America does the black man. We'll get to that in 1 second. As long as you ain't doing no bullying tactics, like, I can't think of nothing right now, but we're going to go to it now then. So something sort of the way 50 backed down everybody around Ja Rule. Do you remember that? Anybody who tried to lend Ja Rule their energy, you're going to get it too. That's basically what America did to the black man. It didn't matter. Everybody knew there's pictures of Queen Elizabeth II. Not the bitch that's up there now, the person before her. Because she just got that person's name and that person's got the original person's name. The bitch before her. That means the bitch before her, the second Elizabeth and the first. Them bitches knew. Because there's pictures of them bowing down to the Nubian kings. And that they knew. There's fucking proof. It's coming out now. You have banks in England talking about that they're publicly apologizing for all the links that they have to slavery. Because they knew. They knew. And America is a derivative of that. We come from that. Christopher Columbus, all the discoverers come from Britain and all that shit. They're here. They came here in the orders of the fucking crown, B. The fuck? And when that nigga got here, he was like, man, fuck that bitch. We gonna build our own shit that's gonna be for us. And fuck them. And fuck them. Fuck everybody that's not us. And we the everybody. You know what I mean? Because how it go? What the Panthers showed you. The Panthers showed you that a white family that has low income can get any type of state government assistance. It doesn't matter what it is. But if you're a 3/5 family, black, whatever, 3/5, look at your constitution. Only the white man is 5. So if you're a 3/5, your household has to be broken. It can't have both parents. It has to be broken. It doesn't matter if the mother or the father have the children, but both parties cannot be in the same household. So they tell you, I don't care how poor you are. As mother and father, you could do it. Doesn't matter. You need help, one of y'all got to get the fuck out. And what does the man do? The man, as the man, he takes all the burden and says, you know what? I'm going to leave her and the apartment and everything, and I'm going to just go. That's what they created. So you could build up your household and get it to a point where you just might need a little nudge and forget about it. Y'all take off. That little nudge is where they break you. It's right there. It's right there because now you already got mad turbulence. Because you know how they say right before you take that loop, it's the hardest. That last little bit, like I like to go cliff diving into water. So right before you jump that first time, right before you take off, it's the hardest. So again, right before you springboard up is the hardest. So you're mad turbulent, you're hungry, your kids, you got all this shit going on. Then the state tells your wife, if you kick this motherfucker out, right, it's like they came to every door and said, check it, if you kick that fucking nigga out your house, I'll give you everything you need. And there came your cutting down, your dividing, because they noticed with the Panther movement, these fucking dudes created WIC and they won't tell you that. So why would you stop a movement that actually created assistance for their own people? That actually was policing themselves, right? What did that mean? That mean all the money that the U.S. government was putting on us, saying that we're a burden, would have been a lot less. It would have been alleviated because it would have been a different system for us to go to help us that wouldn't affect the American economy. so they wouldn't have reflected on them. We had the system to help ourselves, and they didn't want us to be independent. Because the minute we independent, we cake up like this because all their income is coming from us. We spend it on, and on top of that, you got to go to them to create your own shit. Even still, you got to pay them to make your own shit. That's how it's set up. They don't want us to be independent. We don't need them for nothing. The minute we could make our own money and spend it on ourselves, or even better yet, we don't got to fuck up the game that much. The minute that we understand if we take their money and spend it all on ourselves, they will render nothing. In time, they will render to be nobody. True shit. Because you see how, unlike, they don't have compassion. They don't give a fuck. That pineal gland right here, the part of your brain where you develop sympathy and all that, that's where they lack. That's why they tell their parents, I'll fucking kill you. You don't even understand. How do you not respect the entity that gave you existence? How do you not respect that? Like, they made it so your kid will disrespect you in your own home, right? But it'll go to a stranger's house, which is one of their friend's parents, and treat that friend's parent like they're fucking royalty. But meanwhile, your kid don't appreciate the fact that you're struggling every day to put clothes and food and so they can wash their ass, all this shit. That's how they manipulated us. To hate ourselves generationally wise, everything, the division, all that. I don't know, my dog going crazy over here in these plants and shit. You know, in my backyard. Sweating, look at this shit, I'm hot. And dropping knowledge, sometimes it get hot. You know how that saying is, you can't stand the heat? Fuck a kitchen, nigga. I was born in a fire. The fuck you gonna do to me, nigga? Even if I had $1 trillion knowledge, you can take it. You know why? Because if I had $1 trillion knowledge, when I come back, I'm gonna come back with 9 trillion, nigga. It's like that. Or make me a martyr. Either way I win. Your best to let me be. Shit crazy, man. Funny how we still dealing with the same shit the slaves was dealing with. They was talking about how they used to come into the communities, 200 and 300 of them, and take 1 or 2 people and then publicly hang them. Damn, my nigga, it's 2020. Didn't we just find out like 3 motherfuckers got hung the other day? It's coronavirus. Damn. Then wasn't they complaining about cops beating them up and shit, and jobs are scarce and businesses closing in the hood and landlords burning buildings to get insurance claims to fix the making families homeless, bringing in different families, charging more rent for the same exact spot? Like, what? Like, how is that even a fact that the game is made so I could put you in this apartment right here, right? Right? And I can make you sign a 1-year lease. Right? This is how some people, you gotta read the fine print. A motherfucker make you sign a 1-year lease, right? Let's say his objective is to get you to pay $1,500 in rent or move the fuck out so I can get somebody else to pay $1,500 in rent. On the mortgage that he don't have because the motherfucker already owned the building type shit. So it's free money, right? So I get you at a lease at $800, and I'm doing everything you need. Everything's to par, right? Everything's to par, right? But then I gotta end this video. We are 5/5.